Hey, guy that starts with B. Hello. Yeah, the last one I did is Quickwire. High speed connectors. Those are over there. Yeah, it's been such a long time that I've kind of forgotten. Like, I don't know. I don't remember the last stream that you were here, and I also played Satisfactory, unless you're not talking about Satisfactory. And talking about the channel instead. I mean, in both cases, like yeah, I've made a little bit of progress. So high-speed connectors. That's the input. I think I'm just gonna take it off of this line here. Then run it over to there. Oh, crap. Yeah, I think I need to extend this tower again. Yeah. Yeah, that's my toolbox over there. I've hit the point now where I've gotten pretty much all of the lines. I mean, pretty much all of the resource nodes that are here locally. And I just don't want to take the hypertube back and forth to like go from here where I am in the center to like all the way over here. Just like a 2 or 3 minute trip of just sitting in the hypertubes, and then if you forget something or have to make multiple trips, you know, that's just a small distance compared to like if I was like all the way out here. You know, like, then how am I going to get my parts to build a factory if I decide to go over there to build the factory? And the answer is I cannot. So my solution was to use drones with every part that is required to build pretty much any factory. And then I could be any place in the world, and if I run out of parts or I need a particular part, I can then just request that part and have the drone deliver it to me. Yeah, I used to have basically nothing. Like, I mean, if you go back all the way that way, like, I mean, I think all the way back then, I was still working on coal and still working on plastic and but most every machine is running constantly producing parts for other machines, so yeah. I mean, at this point I have to go turn on one of the nuclear power silos. Oh, and just on the off chance that anybody ever sees this and, you know, assumes that you need to do all of this crazy levels of stuff to beat the game, you do not. This is me choosing to build this stuff just for the sake of my own wanting to build it this way. Then complete phase 4. You kinda don't need to do all of this stuff. So, yeah, I gotta go over to that side. And then once I get these lines run, I gotta go either expand the battery factory that I have, or create a new battery factory. With the existing one that I've got, I don't think that I've got any sulfur nodes over there. And we are no small amount of distance away from the ground. What's that thing? Oh, it's in a berry. That's weird. It won't let me toggle the high res mode. That's really weird. You don't have the patience to do that? Yeah. I mean, it is kind of like a work simulator. But pretty much every game is kind of like a work simulator. Because pretty much every game, you have to go out and then use those resources to get to the next level. And whether that level be like, you know, items or parts or whatever. I mean, about the only thing that isn't like that is like a shooting game. Like you can jump into a shooting game and it's, you know, you just go around shooting stuff. You know, barring the shooting games that require you to do levels for whatever reason. So, main processing toolbox, high speed connector. The goat, chicken goat. Chicken goat. Is that the same height? Yeah. The hardest part about playing games or watching videos or pretty much anything like that, I mean, even down to the visual system that we have, like, it's all just patterns of colored lights. These colored lights are bad, but this pattern of colored lights is good. And then the psychology that comes from that, like, and then, you know, pushing the same buttons to do the same things between every game that you play. Like, physically sitting there, like, you're just pushing the same buttons on the controller or the keyboard and the mouse. And it's like, it's crazy to think that it all is just in our head. Like, Clash of Clans. Yeah, I've never played that, so I don't really know anything about it. So the next thing is AI limiters, which that won't go here. It's got to go to the next branch of the tower of conveyor belts. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm gonna fall off if I do that. Oh, you build, you wait, you build, you wait. You build, you wait. I mean, no offense, but that kind of seems like one of those games that I used to joke about, where you aren't really playing it so much as, you know, it's kind of just like a blinking you win screen. You know, like, I know that's like potentially offensive, but I mean, and it's weird that it's all just for the psychology of it, like, you know, any game is all just in people's heads, like. And I don't know if I've said this before, I probably have, at least while you were here watching Satisfactory, is this all looks super crazy complicated, but it's not. All it is this side is the input, that side's the output, and however much the input consumes per minute tells you how many machines that you need to produce for output from the input to the output, and you just do that over and over again. Like if you have 600 raw Caterium ore, you need this many smelters for it, and then that many smelters, this many constructors process that ingot from the smelters into. The appeal of this game is, like, it looks crazy complicated, but it's just input and output. How much you have divided by how much each machine processes determines how many machines it has, and how much space that machine has that takes up determines how you build your factory. See, like, the comparison that would make it all make sense as to why I could say it's all simple is if you had to break it down into the character designing and engineering and testing and fabricating each individual component, then it would be monstrously complicated. But it's not. Why? And for me, that's what's satisfying about the game. It's like, as I get to fly through and look at, like, how crazy it looks, but knowing that it's really very simple, like. And as far as, like, having patience to do stuff goes, I mean, if you look at the bottom of a mountain, if you're standing at the bottom of a mountain and thinking about it like you have to jump from the bottom to the top, like, it feels like that's impossible, because in most cases that is impossible. But if you look at it instead, like each step on your way up the mountain is just that, like some freaking dollar store philosophy here. The only way to keep you focused on a game is if it makes you use your brain. Yeah. If it's too easy, then I don't like it either. But like, I'll give you an example, like you can make it unnecessarily complicated if you really want to. Like in this case over here, you see all of these machines only make screws. And they only make screws out of rods. And what ends up happening is the part where it gets complicated is you have to factor in a belt will only allow so much parts per minute to go through, which this right here, these set of machines that all go to this merger is the belt speed limit for screws that can be handled in total. Otherwise, I would just merge it all together. And these machines here eat every bit of those screws. But this section goes to both a machine that makes the same part as this part. This makes rotors, but these two machines over here make plates, but they both use screws. I typically intentionally keep it as simple as possible to avoid having to do that extra bit of math to calculate around the belt speed limits. Because it's easier to keep it easier. Because then one set of machines is done and you don't have to sit there and calculate out around the belt speed limits. The other thing that I'd follow as a rule is one set of machines input and one set of machines output stays to that machine as far as production is consumed. There's people out there that try to make a pool of resources and then try to draw off of that pool of resources, and they do that because they don't realize your input parts per minute all the way down to source materials never changes. So that's why they end up with machines that have a bunch of yellow lights. Like this would be a good example of the belts parts per minute. Is this just barely runs with no shutdown because of how slow the dispersion of the quick wire is, despite being the maximum belt speed. Like I know this is like all it's all essentially minutia in the sense that it's unimportant if you're never going to play it. There's no sense to know about it. Like if I wanted this to be more efficient, I would have 2 input belts to flood the the inputs for the quick wire on these machines, because each one of these divides the output by 3 if you have 3 connected. In this case, it takes however much the input is and divides it by 2. And then this one that's been divided by 2 then gets divided by 3. And this one gets divided by 3. So for the fraction of a second that it takes that last bit of quick wire to get there, this machine is like 98% efficient. Because yellow lights are a waste of time. Yellow lights are really bad. Because it's both the waste of space that it would take to build the machine in that spot, and the materials that it took to build the machine, and the time that it took setting everything up. If you got yellow lights, you're not doing it right. To a point, for like a fraction of a second. Most of the time, that's because of belt speed limits and trying to split everything down to the parts per minute. So like, this is all divisible by 3. So you have your main source output. That's divided by 3, that's divided by 3, and then what's getting here is that's divided by 3 too. So the, what is it, 780? Yeah, the 780 parts per minute that one can handle with the maximum, it's dispersed down to, how many times is that? It's 1, 2, 3. Let me do that math because I can't do it in my head. Well, I can, but I don't want to because I have a calculator. But so the max speed potential would be 780 divided by 3 one time, divided by 3 a second time, and then divided by 3 a third time. So the max potential for a thing that's been divided by 3 recursively 3 times is only 29 parts per minute. But again, it's not like it's crazy complicated math. But that's about as complex as it gets. I love looking at that. It's just crazy. It's a little bit excessive, but on purpose, for the sake of being able to stand here and look at it. Like, that's freaking crazy. Okay, so I was doing something here. I don't think I'm probably going to run out of sheets. And then there's that is, since I design every machine around its maximum output to the source, you see how these are all idle right now? This is the rare case where having a machine sit in idle mode is not a waste of space or time. For the fact that if I go over here to this storage box, which I don't really have anything that's eating aluminum sheets right now, and take a few stacks out of the box, the whole thing fires back up at as fast as it can possibly go to its inputs. So it's now all came back to life all the way down the line, all the way down to bauxite that's coming in from here, to process stuff to fill up that box as fast as possible. I think it's the other example that I like to do is if you have a machine that's consuming parts, like this drone goes over to the battery factory. So this line, you know, this is being consumed in manufacturing, but this box right here just sits there and stores aluminum casings. And you can do that on every production line. And what ends up happening is your production line will end up filling up this box, and then once it's full, it'll just skip it and just put the maximum speed back into the production line. So what that translates to in English, in simpler terms, is you can have a storage box on every part that you make while have it also being consumed, and the only thing that'll happen is it will slightly slow down production in that line until that box is full, and then it'll go right back to normal. So you don't need a set of machines that only produces parts for storage, which every one of these lines here comes off of a production line and then goes to my toolbox drones over here, and it does the same thing. Like in the previous videos, until the drones themselves and then the storage for the drones was full, you would see it, you know, continuing to crank out parts. Like, see how some of them still aren't full? The reason that I don't care about how fast it fills these is because this whole thing is gonna sit here passively. These drones just sit here until like I go like out here and throw a drone port down and be like, I need metal sheets, or I need concrete, or I need rods, or I need this thing, or I need that thing. Like I could be anywhere on the map and just request a drone that has parts in it. So this is my main processing toolbox, but eventually once it's full, it'll just sit there just like this aluminum casing box until a drone is needed, and then it'll automatically fill itself back up. And then once it's full, it'll just automatically go right back to the maximum speed in the production line that each one of those came from. Some bauxite straight from the source before I had drones. I wanted to check this because no, this is running fine. The other thing that is slightly more complicated than that is recirculative liquid systems, but that's easily achieved by matching the output of a constantly ran system with a reduced input. Yeah, I know I'm speaking Greek here. You're now eating hot sauce. I made that mistake last night. Is there was this ramen that I had never tried, and it said spicy on the bag, and I typically don't eat like spicy things. But oh my god, it was way too spicy. I kind of still regretting it now, even like a day or so later. But my whole mouth was on fire, like my eyes were watering. My freaking nose was running and stuff, like. And I'm thinking to myself, why am I eating this? And the weirdest part of the whole experience is it's kind of exciting at the thought of eating another one. Despite how bad it was, still tempted to eat another one. I mean, it was good. I mean, it did have like 60% of your daily salt in it, which, you know, I think it was 80% of salt. So it's basically salt soup. But yeah. Would you like a heavy modular frame? And now the whole thing kicks on in like full bore just to recreate that frame. I mean, I'm not really into batteries with consumption yet. It's peaking at like 23,000, 24,000. But I am above my production line. So I kind of forgot what I was doing. I think it was, no, I was doing AI limiters, what I was doing. The other thing I can't really figure out is, this to me seems the most simple solution to the same problems that any person would face when playing the game. You know, in the sense of like thinking about it like, you know, square block, square hole is like. And the part that I still kind of struggle with is the thought that some people try to put ceilings and walls on their factories, and it's like, I just can't figure out why they would do that. I mean, because we're solving the same problems between players. And I mean, aesthetically, you know, it's everything is its own aesthetic, and it's cool looking, but I just couldn't figure out how I would do that. And it kind of makes me feel bad because I know that the developers must put in a lot of time designing the walls and the ceilings, and, you know, with the idea of making it like a nice looking factory, but and I would love to do that, and it's just I don't know how I would go about doing that. A freaking ribbon cable. It looks so cool. Do I want to come off there or come off here? Should be able to get away with putting it here. Probably gonna hit a gap in the power grid there. There we go. So in the last video, this ramp came all the way down to here and connected all the way back up because it was the easiest way to get the water there. I mean, when I put that in, I would have never imagined that the ramp would have caused a clearance issue, but the very bottom of the triangle came right to the very top of the quick wire. So then I had to go and move the water input for the aluminum. Auto save. Come on, auto save. There we go. So if you tried to make a roof and make a giant mess, well, I mean, I know from experience that having like multiple stacked floors, I mean, it makes so you can't see anything. And you have to kind of guess where you run your inputs, and you end up with a bigger mess. For trying to make it a more tidy mess, like you'd run out of space. Like what ended up happening is that I was only ever going to need this amount of machines for this part and this amount of machines for that part, and like, well, it turned out that I was wrong. So this starts right about here. So my solution to that was just don't build the walls or the ceiling or the or stack floors on top of each other. I think this was the second 6. It was. Because then it avoids that problem. And then if I really wanted to, when I was all said and done, then I could build walls for it. Which, that was the solution that I thought of too, was it'd be so nice to be able to have like a switch that you could toggle the visibility of the walls and the ceilings. So, MP... Because putting a cap on it or putting walls on it means you lose out on the aesthetic of being able to fly over top of it. And look at it in its entirety. Like if you had a wall or a ceiling or like, you know, or even if you tried to guess to like what the next floor to stack these would be, is like you'd end up encountering a problem with the input belts. You know, like you couldn't see what I'm seeing right now because there would be walls and ceilings in the way. Yeah. I mean, that's the same problem that I had in Minecraft, is if you look at my Minecraft world, I don't actually build walls around it. Like, I'll build the 3x3 starter house, and then my walls are basically just torches, because since nothing can spawn within where the light is, then I don't have to worry about, you know, creatures coming out to bite me in the head. Except for phantoms. Thinking about being bit in the head made me immediately think of phantoms. And then if you need to add more stuff, you don't have to tear walls down or try to sit there and calculate or think about some solution to where you can leave these walls or leave those walls. And it's like, so what is the next thing that I'm doing here? See, I gotta do aluminum sheets is the next thing. The rest of these I don't really use. I mean, I might put one for rifle ammo, because then I could be anywhere and just make some rifle or just request a ammo drop. The freaking drone cluster. So the next one is aluminum sheets. How am I going to handle that? I mean, it's funny that the aluminum sheets end right over here. And I could just easily snake the aluminum sheets up and over this way. But since I've already got this output that goes out this way, and I want to just keep adding to the Great Wall of conveyor belts. Because I don't want anything going from this side of the factory up and over these or around these or get spaghettified in that way. Like aluminum sheets stop right there. But I don't want to run that this way, so I'm going to probably end up taking the aluminum casings and running them along the top of this one to go all the way out around this way to come back up to go over the top of this thing. That's intentionally inefficient personal choice just to maintain the aesthetic of the lasagna wall there. I know it's stupid, but I want to maintain the way that it looks. Just for the fact that it looks the way that it looks. Kind of like this section here, like. And this is another thing, like, if I end up reaching anybody with what I'm about to say, you don't really want to do your stacked conveyors with varying heights. Like, you kind of really only just want to, like, move it up one. This is 1, this is 2. Because then you end up with, like, varying things that go, like... But for the sake of uniformity, and for the way that it ends up looking, like... And I think I'm going to start over here and go over top with that stuff. Because I did re-merge that into here. And crafting table. From a crafting table. And pillar of crafting tables. And pillar of mega floor, make out of crafting table. That's funny. I think if I start here, because that's straight down this way. Yeah, I think that I can get away with that. I mean, I could only imagine what anybody would say when they look at this. I mean, because it's not spaghetti. Putting the conveyors above the lookout tower level avoids the spaghetti factor. And I think the best description is it's kind of closer to like a lasagna than a spaghetti. This is freaking crazy, though. Using crafting tables as storage because you have a mod that can do that. I mean, I would say that's a unique thing. Like, I've never even heard of a mod where you would use crafting tables as storage. But again, it's Minecraft, so like there's a million different mods. There's pretty much probably a mod that does anything that you can imagine it doing. Main processing toolbox. What is this? Alclad. Alclad aluminum sheets. Yeah. You make crafting tables on a stick. On a stick. Yeah, that guy is funny. Yeah, I'm real tempted to cheat here and just run the aluminum sheets off of this thing and then snake it up and over or around or up the middle and over to the other thing. But again, I do really want to continue the great lasagna wall there. So as little sense as it makes to go from here all the way up here and around there and then back up and then back over and then back down instead of just from here to here. And I like never do that. I think I gotta do it that way. I think I gotta go this way with it. Like, I don't know if I can make it over there from here. I might be able to. Let's see. No! Man. Oh, that's fine. I'll just do this. See, I messed this one up. This one is at 2, and I want to keep it uniform. I wonder why I did that. Can't remember if there was a reason why I would do that. I think it was a mistake that I did that. Yeah, and that is something that has to be fixed. Is and the thing that I'm talking about that I paused as I continue doing this is the thing that needs to be fixed. Crap. I can't remember what it is now. Oh, is power pole lines, the wires. They need to, in my humble opinion, they need to have their collision boxes removed when you're trying to build conveyors or build stuff, because the wires themselves just get in the way. And I can't imagine that at any point any person is going to try to build on top of a power pole wire. The other thing that would be kind of nice would be, like, instead of, you know, adding a build mode to the conveyor system, that would allow me to use the conveyor stackers more easily. Like, instead of it defaulting to the power of the conveyor pole itself, which is that thing that's on the end, is like you could just hit the build mode button and it would switch over to a conveyor stacker, like if you're trying to stack it on top of another conveyor. And the reason that I do this, despite, you know, the parts clearly hitting the power pole or the poles, like, visibly, this is just way easier. And then trying to dance back and forth between the conveyor stackers and the poles themselves. It would be nice if there was a more intuitive solution than currently exists in the game. And I'm at the height where this is stopped, so I gotta add another thing to this. And again, not that anybody's ever gonna hear it or see it, and especially probably not the devs. But just on the off chance that that ever happens, I think that would be a good, like, positive, constructive criticism. just a build mode for the conveyors that allows you to switch between a pole or a stacker. And I am at the power pole limit of the height that the hover pack is going to allow me to go to. But thankfully I'm not going to run the rifle bullets, because I usually end up with more rifle bullets than I end up using anyway, so. And I kind of want to just be done with this for right now. Because the next thing is, do I want to add more batteries to the existing battery thing? Which I would have to find a way to get sulfuric acid over there, because I have plenty of alumina. Currently over at batteries. And I don't really want to waste the factory that I have over there, in the sense of the time that it took there to have double the alumina that's being used. But the problem then becomes shipping the sulfuric acid. I mean, I guess the solution would be, since there's a water source, is if I just find a sulfur node and then ship the raw sulfur over and do all of the processing over there. I guess that would probably be the easiest solution. Main power, oh crap, autosave. MPTB, aluminum casings. That is freaking crazy. I mean, I had a few people that came in and said, or came in for like, 5 or 10 minutes when you first came in. And I didn't mention anything about them being here. And I can only wonder if they've played Satisfactory. And I can only wonder, again, because they didn't say anything, I can only wonder what they imagine, what they're thinking when they look at this. And the funny part is, back to like solving the same problems and the methods that you use to solve them. This solves the problem of running out of nodes in your local area. Like, there are a few nodes over here. Like, I haven't used every node here, but I am going to have to go out and find more sulfur. I am going to have to go out and find more deuterium. I am going to have to go out and find more oil and more plastic, and like, so wherever that happens to be, I know can just request any part and a drone will deliver it. So any place that I want to build a factory, I can just throw down a drone port and ship myself the parts to build it. And that solves that problem, which is a problem that anybody that plays the game is going to have. The other problem of batteries is, so long as you store the excess batteries that aren't being used by your drone system, and since this is passive and it doesn't have a constant consuming battery problem, like, and since they only ever make 1 or 2 trips to bring you parts out someplace, this one looks like it was bugged. Then what that means is, whatever excess batteries that you have stored, you can run this whole system off of just this box without having to maintain a constant supply of batteries to all of these drones, because each one is going to use bare minimum at least 9 or 10. But yeah, I'm finally done with a room to expand to more parts if I need to. And it's off. And I did kind of want to keep this stream relatively short. So I've got that functional. So the next thing that I have to do is go out and find a node that I need, which right now I know that I need more Caterium to run that, which I just arbitrarily added that, which was a mistake to arbitrarily add anything. But I didn't really need the high-speed connectors, because it turns out all the way down here I would need like an extra 100 plus machines to just make the adaptive control units to chew up the supercomputers that were being made by the triple overclock supercomputer maker. And that is just way more effort than I particularly want to put in for that particular part. So, and plus I've already got a few boxes over top of the 4,000 that I need to complete phase 4. It's that orange part. I think it's the assembly director system. I think that's what that's called. It's the orange thing. I always call it the orange thing so I can never remember. Yeah, the assembly director system. And that's this thing up here for phase 4. And plus, since I haven't made the other 3 things yet, I still don't know exactly what I'm going to need to do those. So the thing that took priority was wherever I happen to be, wherever those nodes are for those individual factories that I'm going to make those, having a toolbox that delivered any part that I could possibly need to do so for any kind of factory was probably the most important thing. But it's done now. And I think the next stream is probably going to be me solving that problem. Happy meet the engineer noises. If I were to guess, the reason it's so difficult to find is probably because for whatever reason they made crafting tables the main priority, and it would be too easy if it was too easy to find. If I were to guess without knowing anything about it. The assembly director system. How full is this storage box of versatile framework? Because I know I'm going to need those for the magnetic control things. It's almost entirely full. Just slowly, passively making the amount that is necessary. What is it running short on? Oh, modular frames. I mean, I guess the easiest way to increase that would probably just be throw slugs in this thing. I mean, I guess I should probably go turn on one of the nuclear power silos, because I'm getting pretty close to the consumption to trigger in the battery thing. I mean, I still have all of that battery in reserve, so I don't really have to do it now. But I kind of want to end the stream on turning that on, so... Gentlemen, I present to you a bucket. But wait, there's more. I'm not really going anywhere. Like, I just wanted to do like an hour or so of work on the toolbox, and the toolbox that drone cluster is I need to make a magic sorter to where you can just dump your whole inventory in it, and then it sorts everything back into the production line in addition to a precursor storage area. Let me make sure the spicy rock factory is still running. Good. So I had battery issues with the way that I had it set up before. And I just realized, like, I kind of didn't want to touch the amount of sulfuric acid that I had coming from these. So I make way more sulfuric acid than gets consumed by this thing. But my plan was to come back and play TF2. Nice. Finally got some build up here. All of this runs all of these. This is an end-to-end nuclear power facility that I have most of them turned off because I realized that it doesn't make sense to have them turned on up to like the 50,000 megawatts if it's not being used and it's just wasting control rods. Right, so let me add the other 3 to this. I'm probably gonna have to add a... No, I guess I can get away with that. So where's the input? Opposite. It won't let me switch this for some reason. Come on. It won't let me rotate it. There it goes. I was out here doing this last time and freaking... I ran out of parts to build. I'm out of parts? Hey, how did that happen again? And I mean, I don't want to go back. Well, I mean, I guess I could test the, I guess I could test it, the toolbox, see how that goes. The way the toolbox works is you can ship any part to any existing drone system because every existing drone system has a catch-all. Any part that's not meant for production gets filtered into the else box. Let's turn this on. Just let this reprime. Because it does have the smallest variance on the input level of the water. It's not a... It's just slightly over 600 per minute, so... But I do have 7 of those hooked up to a 600 line. So it should be reprimed relatively soon. And this is an experiment to see if I could do this without any fluid buffers, and it worked. It worked just fine. Oh, crap. No! Damn it. Wasn't paying attention. I ran out of freaking... Damn it. Idiot. No, I ran out of freaking... What is it called? The iodine filters. Radiation filters. Crap. Well, I know that I need rods, and, well, not rods, but I think I do need rods. I need those. I need alclad aluminum sheets. I think I need rods. Rifle bullets. I don't think I have another hazmat suit. I don't think I have the fabric to make a hazmat suit. I'm probably gonna die if I try to get over there without any of that stuff to get my stuff back to put the iodine filters back in. Do I have any iodine filters? No, I gotta buy some. That was funny. Can you soft lock your game by going in a infinite tunnel? I mean, the answer would be no, because in order for it to be an infinite tunnel, you'd have to have like a second person connect the hypertube to itself. But in that event, the answer would be yes, because then you could never get out of it. Parts. I guess I could buy fabric. So I know I'm gonna need a radiation suit. What does it take to make one of those? Rubber, plastic, alclad sheets. I don't think I have plastic over here. I have to go over to plastic to get it. No, I do have plastic. I just don't have rubber over here. And I like never die. I died then. But I like never die. Death by stupid. Do I have rubber in here? No. Should probably grab a few stacks of rubber so I don't have to go over here to get it. Looking at the radiation warning, because I hardly ever see it. I'm like, what is going on? And dead. Yeah, these take too long. I'm only making the two of them. Fabric. Can you buy a hazmat suit? Oh, that's just a skin. And these back in here. And I think that should be everything. I'll be able to go and get my stuff out of a box. And I just had to go over and mess with the spicy rock factory. And it bit me. Goodbye, stupid. Hey, what's that thing on the... Ah, and I'm dead. And dead body Superman's over to the conveyor belt, lands underneath it. Why do I have two of these? I know I didn't pick up two of them. That's weird. I must have been carrying one and had one in my inventory the whole time. Is that the only thing I could think of? I think that's everything. Not really that good at recovering from dying because I hardly ever die. And I just now noticed that this whole thing is misaligned by one tick. And it's bugging me, but I can't really move it. Because it's got the waste in it, so as much as I don't want to leave it, I'm going to have to leave it. So this should be fully primed. Yeah, all yellow lights. Alright, I should be able to turn this back on. But it does go all the way up to 50. I mean, I'm going to turn these back off, but... I have 52, almost 53. This one's already on, so I have it underclocked. But the exact amount that's being produced from 300 raw spicy rocks is enough to run, what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5 triple overclocked or triple slugged and 1 underclocked. So if at any point I did need all of that power, which at some point I know that I'm going to, I think for the particle accelerators I'm probably going to have to add more, because I'm probably going to need more power than that, than having everything fully turned on to run the particle accelerators. I'm probably going to end up having to use that 12 refiners worth of pure sulfur, which also means I can't package it and ship it over to the battery farm, the battery factory, because if I do that, then I'll be dependent on using the sulfur from here, which I'm probably going to end up needing for power in the future anyway. The Spicy Rock delivery service. And I gotta say it because I say it every time, but the funniest thing to me about nuclear power, both in the game and real life, is all this research and all of this effort and everything went into making it a viable thing to produce power. And it's just to boil water to turn a steam turbine. I know it's that tube that brings me out this way, but where does this one bring me? I've forgotten where this one brings me because I always use the other one. Is this the one that is supposed to bring me all the way back to the base? Oh no, this one brings me over to underneath where iron and coal and those nodes are. Scoot, 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 scoot. And the silica scooting by. Huzzah! Good. Stick these excess things in here. Like, I don't need 2 of these. Oh, this box is full. Of course it is. That's my wood box. Oh, I have filters. Of course I do. Another hazmat suit. I think I had a second gas mask too. No. But yeah. got the toolbox done, and I don't want to end up doing a 4-hour stream because this game, I mean, it's pretty much like you're done when you decide that you're done, kinda, because you can always modify or tweak something or add something else, or yeah. Looks like a freaking Borg cube or something. But yeah, I'm gonna come right back with TF2. And thank you for watching, and thank you for subscribing. But I'm clicking the button right now.